Clinton, Bush, Obama liberated C-4 for terrorists to attack Europe. 23 March 2016. During the 70s and 80s, terrorism, Kalashnikovs in airports, and hijackings were the easiest methods of attacking civilians for Palestinians and other political missions. Gaddafi was suspected of supporting the Lockerbie blow-up, of course, yet generally there wasn't a surfeit of plastic explosives available from Western interventions in the Middle East and Central Asia. There probably will be a generation of chasing after all those tons of plastic lurking in North Africa that are so easy to send to Europe. Trump, like Reagan, is populist. The stale don't like. 23 March 2016. Republican elites that don't get anything done are the best chance to defeat the populist Donald Trump this fall. They can't get over the fact that he isn't a product excreted by the regular bureaucratic machine onto the political plate. The establishment hasn't had realistic economics since Ronald Reagan temporarily warped them to get out of the Carter post-Vietnam doldrums, and the result is a generation of politicians with their heads up their A's pretending that deficits don't matter. At the least, the people owning the debt, such as foreign governments, rule. That's why I suppose, in part, at least, the Clinton Foundation goes all over the planet chasing contributions from the rich. Speaker Ryan would make a budget gutting the poor and concentrating wealth for the rich, yet even so he is clueless about ecological economics of the National Re Foundation that Trump might be goaded into supporting. Ryan and the rest of the state should get with it and stop obstructing energy. They, too, readily want to be on Golden Pond counting coin. Why Hillary is the USA's top security risk, 22 March 2016. Hillary Clinton's public persona is something like that of Richard Nixon after Bruce Generalization. Her personal attorney, Vince Foster, committed suicide while the Clintons were occupying the White House at the time. Hillary's diary had disappeared and it was being subpoenaed. I seem to recall, and it appeared on the dining room table out of thin air eventually. Hillary's foreign policy experience includes stimulating terrorist attacks all over the Middle East, Europe, and even the USA, giving Libya away to ISIS and anarchy, creating lasting bad relations with Russia over the Ukraine that Bill Clinton flitched from a very weak Boris Yeltsin, and building a protracted Syrian civil war that sent thousands of Muslims to Europe and Canada, increasing the prospects for terrorism. Hillary in the White House would be a recruiting poster for ISIS and Muslim jihadists everywhere. She put classified State Department emails on a private email server, not exactly any sort of security awareness in that, although of course it would give her an opportunity to put insider information out without being traced. Even a third of emails to the Congress have malware and spyware. Anyone Hillary trafficked with, say, some Russian billionaire hosting the Clinton Foundation dinner, or someone who wants to know if the value of Greek currency is going to go up or down, according to how it would be influenced by State Department policy, would know her address and could have sent malware to it that in turn might get forwarded back to the State Department. 30 years of the Clinton dynasty is enough already. Did she also smike dope, yet not inhale, at Oxford with Bill? Was she recruited by MI5 to be a future leaker? The Clinton royal affiliation seems wickedly harmful to U.S. democracy. Ben Carson for Trump's VP, 22 March 2016. The fall Trump campaign would need a VP candidate that would bring in a lot of votes, and it's probably Ben Carson. Al Gore lost for not picking Oprah as his partner, instead taking a guy from a state with only -2 electoral votes where 5 people live. Carson would bring an element of science to add to the business accent of the Trump administration. He seems a reliable conservative. Muslim nihilists attack Europe again. Belgium, 22 March 2016. Europeans don't take their security very seriously. In the post-Second World War II era, just large conventional armies were the issue, as well as rockets. It was a leftist paradise. Europe did have a bunch of PLO attacks in the Reagan era, yet that was contained. Now Europe lets tens of thousands of Muslims arrive from the Middle East and delude themselves that all of the terrorists will show up on a computer someplace. Islam is the arrested civilization, a traditional rival of the West that has been a foe since the 7th century attacks on Europe. Leftist intellectuals can't deal with that, and would, I suppose, prefer to sacrifice his son to the Sultan or Caliph's harem if that establishment should recur. 21 March 2016. President Obama throws in towel to Cuba, making history. Since the 1959 Cuban Revolution, the United States and Cuba have enjoyed a Cold War rivalry that provided much work for the intelligence community. President Obama has spoiled that by throwing in the towel to D.C.'s old rivals, the Castro brothers. A fellow once said that the former Soviet Union supported the communist government of Cuba primarily because Russia didn't grow sugarcane. Cuba didn't have a crop of nuclear missiles, of course, so a matchup was natural. Drug traffickers, terrorists, and ancient mariners will find it easier to enter the United States since the historical contemporary history-making history and glory for all interested in history made historically today by President Obama's historical journey to Cuba to make history, ending the conflict with Cuba is now part of history. See if there's anything else that I'll read in here. 19 March 2016, U.S. Supreme Court and the banality of evil. The Supreme Court leftists today personify the banality of evil. They have transformed the judiciary into a nation of politics rather than a nation of laws. Abortion, homosexual marriage, legal dope, forced corporate health care, those are evil policies forced on the nation by the Supreme Court. Adolf Eichmann ruled the Nazi death camps as mundanely as Injustice Roberts, and the left injustices rule America's abortion archipelago. Hannah Arendt's description of Adolf Eichmann is apropos for Harry Reid and the U.S. Supreme Court. They act as an anti-Christian clave of little Eichmanns reinforced by broadcast media, video gaming, and motion picture rackets to build an evil Schluzba. If those people would spend time playing online chess, they would do far less harm and improve their intellects, perhaps. U.S. Supreme Court injustices interpret the Constitution as a political Rorschach paper expressing whatever politics global elites desire, and it's good for their bottom line. Dred Scott, homo marriage, abortion, sufficient unto the day are evil Supreme Court decisions thereof. Then I'll finish this with a poem that I wrote. 18 March 2016, A Higher Orbit, a Brighter Light. Lesser lights created in the night exploded like novae with ingenious right, soundless waves and being like dreams pushed ahead with massed clouds of dust landings green. Round orbits, coalescing gravity's castings, actors sweeping present future's vast wings of darkness resisting troubling clumps, tension, stress. In microgravity, a million Earths formed, most aborted, merged down to clash and trash while the greater local lights mourning. While within higher orbits, striving to be first to draw into themselves the massive all that would fuse and burn hydrogen, tells centers changed through erratic drifts, prejudicing Hilbert space for new content, when the other star raced through the cloud, drawing blood in its wake. Throwing complexities with collisions of mass accelerated as hangers on slingshots with the sun switched on, and light flowing through the clump and mass field where the million planetary beginnings ended violently, smashed together as improbable mergers. Some with life, some without moons, ended without a whimper, terminated without a shout. Where the gates of Eden rest, guarded with four cherubim, dimensions of space-time closed behind the blessed. Where the sun shined through darkness, photons in a magnetic field struck chords on optic nerves, warmed. Where each verse was another crumpled sender of ideas beyond aggression, stopped not a war on the rankling over warmed world powers, gone too fueled, becoming folklore.